First off, I want to thank the brave men and women who work behind the wall. I want to thank them on a national level because their job goes unrecognized.
How do they try to turn a guard?
Well, correctional officer. Sorry, I apologize. But correctional officer.
How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi. Welcome to another episode of Tier Talk. Great question sent our way on our last live stream. Gangi, what happens when an inmate saves an officer's life? And yes, that happens. But the question is, how does the officer feel when that happens? Or how does the staff member feel when that happens? Will that staff member still be effective in doing their job with that inmate who has saved their life? It's a great question. Now, guys, these videos are sponsored by Guardian RFID, so everything from inmate tracking to cell checks. If you want to upgrade your facility, guys, Guardian RFID is the answer. Please check out guardianrfid.com. And also, guys, if you're seeking to get your degree and move into that higher level of education, American Military University. Again, guys, American Military University can help bring experience into the classroom, and that's what we need. Now, guys, this is a quick vlog, but we have had it in the past where an inmate has saved an officer's life or has saved a staff member's life. And then when it comes to that relationship now between that staff member and that inmate, it becomes a bit complicated. Because the staff member may feel a level of obligation towards that inmate. And that level of obligation, that could prevent the officer or the staff member from being objective when dealing with that inmate. It could prevent that staff member from being firm, fair, and consistent with that inmate. Also, there could be a level of trust now between that inmate and that staff member. One thing about corrections, guys, is we don't ever want to have a feeling of obligation towards an inmate. It's very important that we step away from that feeling. Now, most of the time we can control it. We don't accept favors from inmates, but sometimes a situation can arise, like an officer being assaulted, a staff member being assaulted, and an inmate coming out of the woodwork to protect that staff member, to protect that officer. And on the surface, it's a great thing. It's beautiful. But there's a longer, like a ripple effect to that, if you will. And that ripple effect can lead that officer or that staff member in a feeling of obligation towards that inmate. So here's what we need to do. If we're management and we know that this has happened, we need to make sure, one, we end that feeling of obligation, and two, we end that feeling of conflict that that officer or staff member may have when dealing with that inmate. Now, some facilities have allowed a payout to that inmate, whether it's extra commissary or a couple of bucks or maybe some good time credit. And some facilities have actually even transferred the inmate out. This way, again, you can alleviate that level of conflict. And the reason why I mention this, guys, is because sometimes not everything is as it seems. The assault that was on staff that the inmate jumped up to protect could have been orchestrated. It could have been orchestrated so the inmate that saves the staff member can get a little closer to that staff member. So again, if an inmate finds themselves in a position to save a staff member's life, and they do, we have to do what we can to eliminate any sense of obligation or any sense of trust that the staff member will now have towards that inmate. Yes, we expect staff to be professional in dealing with that inmate, but that's going to be hard. Because again, this inmate just saved that staff member's life. So now we look to management. What are you going to do now? And again, management, I think the ideal thing is to make sure that that inmate and that officer, that inmate and that staff member, they don't work together anymore. Basically, that staff member does not oversee that inmate in any capacity. Again, if your life was saved by an inmate, it's going to make it very hard for you to be objective, fair, firm, and consistent when dealing with that inmate. Just food for thought. As always, guys, the show is Tier Talk. If you haven't, please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. Bell's going to notify you every time I post a video. Stay safe.